Nan decided she was going to make me some meals. So I said, okay, that'll be fine. So she said, be here every day at 5 o'clock. So I said, all right. So I got there at 5 o'clock. She had this really nice ham dinner.
Well, she asked you what you wanted.
Yeah, she asked me what I wanted. And she said, I made you a ham dinner. And I'm like, wow, that's really nice. And so we sat down, and at that time, there was a grocery store in Bluestown called Almonds, which was approximately 3.5 miles maybe away. And I said to her, I said, where did you get the ham? She said, I got it at Almonds. I said, oh wow. I said, when did you get it? She said, today. I said, how did you get there? She said, I walked up to this grocery store and got it and walked back.
Wow.
Yeah, she walked 3.5 miles and got the ham. Yeah, I walked back on that same day to get that ham. Yeah, so I always remember that. Yeah, the effort she put behind it when she did it. Yeah, I sat down and she said, I walked. I said, how'd you get up there? She said, I walked.
Wow.
And that was a walk.
Yeah, she walked.
She
Yeah.
walked along the factory every day.
Yeah. So in addition to that, my cousin Debbie, where's Debbie? Debbie brought a lot of pictures of Nan from childhood up, and you're going to want to take a look at those, especially Eileen. There are some grade school pictures there of Aunt Audrey at grade school, and the teacher may be your adopted parents, mother, maybe your mother. So you want to take a look at that. So anyhow, that's my story.
Very cool.
And
Thank you.
I thank this whole family for coming here today. They all participated, and I really do appreciate it. Everyone came and enjoyed the social event with Eileen's family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll share some stories about her in her younger days.
Okay.
Well, first of all, she was raised in Harrisburg. That's where she was raised. Her parents, she lost her mother at a very young age. And so she was raised by her dad, who was a very successful businessman at the time in Harrisburg. He had a dairy. He had a grocery store, by the way. But he lost most of that through gambling. So he actually died very poor. But anyway, they lived in a very exclusive area in Harrisburg in those days. And you know, our mother almost died twice. She almost drowned when she was just a little kid at a quarry. A girl was in there swimming, couldn't swim, and she was drowning, and Mom couldn't swim either. But she dove in to get her. And she almost lost her life too. Because when the rescue people got there, they almost gave up on Mom. So someone said, I think I saw an eyelash move. And so they worked on her and they brought her around. She also died, her brother died in their home. They had this big home in Harrisburg on the hill. It's now a funeral home. And that's where they had a coal furnace in those days. And her dad was working, and there was about 5 kids, I guess. I'm not sure about the number. I had to think about it. But anyway, the furnace put off a lot of coal gas. And the father, her dad, was working that night and didn't get home till late. And the one brother stayed at a friend's house that night. The one brother died in that house that night. They almost died from coal gas. If he wouldn't have gotten home when he did, got the place done like they did, she would have probably died too. There's a newspaper article on that. Debbie has it up there. I talked about that at her funeral. And so she had quite a few close calls in her life. And, you know, even when in her younger days, when we were around as young kids, she had a very serious big tumor on her lung. I'd say she's in her late 30s or sometime, late 30s. She had a very serious operation that time, and she pulled through it pretty good. And was not malignant at that time, so she was very lucky. But I remember her telling us it was the size of a lemon that they removed off of her lung. So that was another time that she escaped, you know. And so she had a lot of close calls here in her days, so there's no doubt about it. But anyway, she came down here met my dad at a roller skating rink, I believe, in Harrisburg, and that's where my dad. And but you talk about her not driving. That's true, but you did try to drive one. My granddad had a big farm over here. He was a big potato farmer. I mean, he had a lot of potatoes. My dad would plow all night with a caterpillar to raise these potatoes, but she wanted to learn to drive. So he got her in the car. At that time, there was no automatic transmissions, and she just couldn't understand these clutches. And so they got her in there, and she got behind the wheel over in the farm. And she took that baby right in through the door and took out my granddad's big emery stone that he used to sharpen his things, his tool stuff. She took that, wiped that baby out, and my granddad said, "She's not driving any more cars." So she never did drive that. She did attempt so, Bob. So anyway, no, she never really had any desire to drive that. I guess because we took care of her, and Audrey here was her #1 driver.
Yeah.
I mean, those two were Park City people just about every other weekend. I said to Mom one day, I said, Mom, Audrey hauls you here, hauls you there. I hope you ought to buy some gas for her once in a while. She says, well, I'm not a freeloader. I do buy her some things. I said, okay, I'm just glad to hear that. So anyway, those are some things about her life. And like I said, I talked about the coal gas and the drowning, and so she had quite a life. And she was basically, those kids all raised themselves, basically, because he was out running the businesses, and those kids were at home by themselves, and so they were on their own.
How many kids did
Well,
her parents have?
Well, she had John was her brother, and let's see, the other one, I don't know what his name was. And then it was Sarah, it was Emma.
Four.
5 of them. No, there was another one. Sarah, Emma. Can't think who it is.
Talk about your aunts and uncles.
I think there was 5 of them.
Talk about your aunts and uncles.
Well,
The mom
anyway, one
pooped the
died.
ground.
Oh, yes.
But they brought her back.
But anyway, yeah.
She was younger.
I think it was 5 of
Yeah, I'll
them.
have to talk to
I'd
you.
have to think a little bit more about that.
I got a volunteer.
Anyway. Yeah, if you want to read the newspaper article,
Yeah.
it's up there.
She was very particular,
Yeah, she really
very
was.
picky.
Yes, she was.
Liked things very clean. She's known to wipe the table, and I love to do that. I love wiping countertops. I do. I love wiping the tables off. My
She
son
does.
just moved, and I said I'll clean the kitchen, and I'm cleaning up the countertops. I'm feeling like Nan. But Steph and I loved when Nan would babysit us. Because you could get away with anything. She was so much fun. And we'd be up, and my parents would say, get these kids to bed. They should be in bed by 8, and it'd be 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. They would get out 8:30, and then you'd be coming home at 10, it'd be 9:45. She'd go, I'm getting that bed and just pretend you're sleeping. She's like, Carla, they're not gonna let me do this anymore. Yeah, you could get away with it. And Bobby and Todd did a number on her all the time. And they did stuff to her all the time. Didn't you put some water on a door and called her in and then the water? You guys are so nasty.
She was mad.
Somebody dressed up in a costume.
That was him.
fun.
He had a gorilla costume.
But
What did you rent that for? I don't know what you had that for.
For a company party,
Somebody
right?
did that.
A gorilla.
Very what was her first name? But he went up to her kitchen window and looked in the window and scared
At
her
night,
half
and
to
she
death
went by
at night.
herself. I mean,
And it looked like a gorilla. I would've.
was she scared?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I would.
Yeah. This girl, well, I have a
She
picture,
goes up like this.
I got a picture of her in the house on the wall there, but it was a big gorilla suit. And I put it on and went the whole way across town scaring people with it. on my friends' porches, and Mom was the last one, and I came across there, and one of the neighbors saw me and went, "What the heck?" And I went across the street. Now you get shot.
Now you will.
Anyway, she was at the sink, and there was a window right above the sink, and I came up to the sink, and I went, "Oh, Bob! All right, Bob," she said.
Talk about taking her to the grocery store.
Oh, brother. I would take her to the grocery store. And I'd call her up, you know, and I'd say, "Do you need any groceries?" And she'll say, "A couple things." I said, "I'm not going for a couple things. Do you need groceries?" "Yeah, I need some." So we get to the grocery store. This happened a lot. We get to the grocery store, and I'm with her cart, and she's checking every label for sodium and everything. And when she's looking at all this stuff, I start putting stuff in her cart. And I walk away, and she's looking for her cart, and I came around the corner, and she said, "Bob, did you see my cart?" And I said, "Yeah, right there." She goes, "That's not my stuff." I said, "Oh, yes, it is." "Bob, put that back on the shelf. I don't want it." But I did that a lot. And, but going to her house, your shoes had to be clean. And she taught me how to clean. She taught me how to cook. She was a real go-getter of that.
I'll tell you what, Eileen, if you'd have been around, you'd have been the neatest girl in town. I'll tell you what.
One time we were clean to go around.
I'll tell you what, she ironed our socks, she ironed our underwear, and it all had to be folded a certain way and in the drawers. And if we weren't using it for a while, she'd lay paper over top of the drawers so it wouldn't get dusty. We were the neatest kids in school, we really were. We were well groomed when we went to school. I tell people I got my underwear ironed and everything else, they couldn't believe it. That's the way she was, you know. Yeah.
She always told me I'm too shushy.
Oh, yeah.
Too shushy. You're too shushy, not like the other ones. You're too shushy.
Yeah, whenever she needed something done, she would call Dad or Uncle Charlie to come up and get it taken care of, and a lot of times I'd go along with Dad, and she always played them off each other. We'd walk in and she'd say, "I had Charlie up here to look at this, and I don't think he did it right. And I want you to look at it." And Dad would say, "Well, let's look, I got it right now. Let's get it done. I don't got time." "Now, don't start on me," she said. She said, "I want to take my time and do it right." And then it would play off the same way. Dad would do something, and then she would not like what Dad did, and then she would call Uncle Charlie, and he would go up, and then she'd say the same thing to him. "Well, Bob was here, he was too shishly, he didn't do it the way I wanted him to.
He's too quick.
He's too quick, and I want you to take a look at it." And she always played him off all the time. And then the other thing she did a lot, and Stacy and Steph Todd all testify to this too, but like we said, she didn't have a driver's license. So a lot of the cousins would take her to different places to get something. And after we would get what she needed, she would always say, "Did you have anything to eat? Yeah, are you hungry?" And we would say, "Well, I don't know. Well, I'll buy. If you want to stop at Burger King or whatever," she said, "I'll buy." So she always hit us up on wanting to get something to eat when we took her out.
Yep.
That was famous. Yeah.
Twin kids.
Yeah, twin kids, yep.
Yeah. I hear the chili there is super good.
Yeah. And she would say, I don't think I should have it, but you know, I'll still stop and get something if you want to."
She'd call me at work and say, "Bob, what time you coming home?" And I said, 5 o'clock. "Which way you coming?" And I said, "Well, I'm in a carpool sometime, but I'm not today." "Well, I could eat some chili from Mount Joy." Twin kids.
Are you hungry?
Are you hungry?
When she had darn our socks, our socks got darn, we didn't buy new ones. She'd put them, and she'd slip it in this darn wooden round thing, and then take a scissors and take the handle and pound it soft so it wouldn't give us a blister. And beat the tar out of it. I thought she was gonna wear the threads out. But she did, she could sew.
Well, my experience was a little different because these 4 down here, I babysat them. But anyway, Mom and I, we moved in with Nan when I was 16. And I think it was just a couple of years after that, Mom got married and moved out, and I stayed with Nan. I had graduated and I got a job, and I stayed with her. And you know, I had told Mom, I said, I'm going to stay here and help her with the bills. So I stayed with her till I married my husband. And I guess it was what, Eric, let's see, we were married 4 years before we had Eric. And we decided we were going to build a house, and we put our house up for sale, and somebody needed to get in it right away because they were relocating for a job. And my husband built our house, so it was going to take a long time. So we actually moved in with Nan, and he was a year old, I believe. So that was a lot of adjusting. It didn't go real great. But it's like they already told you, she's very fussy. And, but she was still working, and I was home because, you know, he was only a year old, so I would have dinner ready for her every night when she came home. So then she started kind of liking the idea. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, my experience was a little bit different, but, so we became pretty close.
Yeah.
And, but in the long run, I think she was glad we were there, that she was able to take us in. And so we were there for what, about a year? About a year. And then we moved into our house, so then she didn't get my dinners anymore.
I guess we're next to talk. And I love her, Joyce. She would have loved to be here. So I guess I'm